never gets old.
Well, it has been a while since the SQ7, aka Mom Mobile, has been on the channel, but that's because it's my wife's daily driver. She needs it every day to do, mom stuff. Bring Graham to daycare, appointments, just daily driver stuff. So it really can't be down for that long. And also, this is one vehicle that I purchased with the intention of leaving it mostly alone, even though this platform is great for modifying because they're already fast out of the box. This is a 2021 SQ7. I flew down one way to Atlanta, Georgia last year, almost a year ago. Bought this thing sight unseen, needed a couple things, drove it all the way home, and then over the summer kind of made it our own. I added the black optics package, blacked out all the trim, cleaned it up really well. In the process of doing the black optics package, I fixed the damage to the grille, got some new tires for it, and then late last year, I even found a set of OEM 22-inch RS7 wheels. Put those on for a couple weeks before winter moved in, and this thing has been back to stock mode. But that all changes today. I have put it off long enough, and you guys said it in almost all of these videos. These cars, there's so much power on tap just with the tune. So that's what we're doing in this video. We're going to be tuning my wife's SQ7. I've partnered up with 034 Motorsports. I'm in their early adopter program for their new Stage 1 tune for this car and the 4.0T motors. So that's on the docket for today. I've already got the dongle and everything I need, so let's get this tune uploaded and see if we can add, I don't know, 100, 200 horsepower to this thing with just a little computer. What a time to be alive. This thing is fast, stock form. Not bad for a 5,000-pound, 3-row SUV. When you gotta get to soccer practice in a hurry, this is the vehicle you want. And when those turbos light, which doesn't take long, this thing throws you back in the seat. It's a ton of fun. All right, let's see if we can make it even faster. My wife drives this thing like a grandma. I don't know why I'm doing this, but it's more for me, Well, you guys know me. There's no way I can be modifying or working on a vehicle that's dirty, and this vehicle is dirty. A full winter in New Hampshire of daily driver duties, this thing is covered in salt and dirt and grime inside and out. We got to change that. Need more room. All right, the sun is just about to set over the auction Cadillac CTS-V, which will be back on the channel here very shortly. Got a ton of parts for this thing. Interior on the Audi is looking factory fresh once again. After a hard winter on mom and baby duty, but looking really good. Now, let's see if we can get the outside to match. Alright, got the SQ7 all cleaned up inside and out. It's looking fresh. But before we add some horsepower to this thing, there's one thing I want to do real quick. Winter's over, spring is here, summer's coming, which means it's time to swap out the stock wheels and all-season tires for those beautiful 22-inch RS7 wheels that I scooped up last fall. Let's go dig those out of the basement. Factory wheels are off, ready for storage. And in the words of Ludacris, I can't lose with 22s. That's what's up. Shoo! I absolutely love these factory RS7 wheels. Milled black inserts with those red calipers that we painted last fall. Really goes with all the trim that we blacked out, effectively giving this thing the black optics package. That is not too shabby for a mom mobile. And now we're about to make it a whole lot faster, but I'm gonna do that tomorrow in the daylight. We'll back this thing out, flash the tune. But before we do that, I wanted to make this a little bit scientific, so I figured we should get some good before and after data. I probably should have bought one of these years ago, but yes, I finally picked up a Draggy so that hopefully we can get some good before and after, 0 to 60 times, things like that, and just see what kind of performance gain, real world performance gain we're getting from this 034 Motorsports tune. And then of course it will be fun for, all the rest of the vehicles, the LS3 swap 69 Camaro and the twin turbo 1100 horsepower C6Z06 and whatever else we get on the channel. So I'll try and figure out how to use this thing. I'm sure there's an app I have to download nowadays. Tomorrow morning we'll back this thing out, get some preliminary data, flash the tune, and make this already fast mom mobile even faster. See you guys then. You know, these newer German cars, well, newer cars in general, but the German cars especially, have more modules than you can count. So many things that can go wrong with these cars, which makes it critical to have a professional level diagnostic scanner. This is the new Topdon One, which is a professional level diagnostic scanner, bidirectional scanner with J2534 pass-through programming capability at a price point that's really more of a consumer grade device. So right now I'm just having this thing automatically read the VIN. My wife has been complaining that it's been giving her like an Audi pre-sense error once in a while, so let's scan that. Look at all these hot functions and coding that this thing supports right out of the box. Plus we can do an auto scan and scan every single module in the vehicle. So boom, now we've got all these modules, 36 modules. Plus, once you find your trouble codes or error codes, you can use TopFix AI. Use the latest AI-powered insights to determine some common root causes for your issue. So we got a ton of faults here already, but mostly normal. So honestly, I think a lot of these were because the car was so dirty that some of the sensors were blocked. So I'm gonna clear them, and we'll just see if they come back, and if they do, we can investigate further. But if you guys are looking for a professional level OBD2 scanner with bidirectional communication and coding capability for these difficult German vehicles, Mercedes, Audi, BMW, VW, definitely check out the Topdon One. It's more affordable than you think. I'm gonna leave a link in the description. Check it out. Couple of big V8 German daily drivers. All right, let's see if we can figure out this draggy. So for those of you who don't know, the SQ7 comes with the EA825 engine, and that is a 4-liter direct injection twin turbo V8. It's called the hot V, meaning the turbos are basically in the intake and the exhaust flows into the turbos, and then the intake is on the other side, if that makes any sense. It's like your typical V8 cylinder head orientation is reversed. And the thought behind that is that it keeps the exhaust gases hot, reduces spool time, increases efficiency, all that. The EA825 is in the SQ7, the SQ8, the RSQ8, the RS7, and the Lamborghini Urus. And I think maybe I'm missing one Audi, maybe the RS6, I can't remember. But it's proven to be a very reliable platform. You know, they all have their quirks here and there. I think there's some water pump issues with these things in certain times. But other than that, plenty of these guys running these things around with well over 100,000 miles, for the most part trouble-free. And every single one of those models that I just listed, a lot of them have different horsepower ratings. And you know, all manufacturers do this, where, for example, the Lamborghini Urus can't make less power than an Audi SQ7. But at the end of the day, the motors are really mostly the same. So this car, I think the first video I posted, I said it was like a 3-row Lamborghini Urus, and that's what a lot of people call these. Even though it's, you know, got 100 horsepower or less or whatever. But now we have the opportunity to tune this thing and have it make more horsepower than a Lamborghini Urus. The SQ7 from the factory, I think, is rated at 500 horsepower, and it might also be 500 foot-pounds of torque. I'll have to double check. Everyone in the first video was like, you gotta tune it, you gotta tune it. These things are insane when you tune them, and 034 Motorsports has been perfecting this tune for a long time now. And a lot of people are already seemingly very happy with it, so I was chomping at the bit to kind of hop on board. But I wanted to get some baseline numbers. I've got the draggy mounted to the windshield. I've never used it before, so we'll see if I can get this thing right, but let's get at least one 0 to 60 time. We'll do the race start, or that's the Mercedes terminology, a little, whatever the launch mode is. I'll see if I can figure it out on this thing again, and see if we can get some baseline numbers here. This thing is really quick for being stock. What was that? 3.83 seconds 0 to 60 on the street. 1.76 60 foot. Sadly, that's better than I've done in my Z06 Corvette at the track on street tires back in the day when I was just spinning everywhere. But that is insanely quick for a full weight SUV. So that video was through the draggy, so hopefully it comes through all right. But 3.830 to 60. Let's see what a tune does for that number. It already feels insanely quick for something of this size, but can always improve, right? Let's go flash that tune. All right, so here's the 034 Motorsport dongle. So we're gonna plug this in the OBD2 port, which when you own like 8 different vehicles is always fun remembering where it is. No, no, yes. And of course we got a sweet extra long USB-C cable, ka-chow. And we've got their software up here. Apologize for the dirty screen. This is my garage laptop, so it is exposed to all the dust from the 1969 Camaro Mini Tub project. You know, just garage things. All right, click the flashing icon for more horsepower. Go ahead, twist my arm. All right, looks like they want me to do a software update. So let's do that. All right, so while that's updating, let's talk about this tune and why I wanted to go with this one. This is my wife's daily driver. Again, I don't need anything crazy, but if we can get 150 to 170 more horsepower with OEM level refinement, I'm all for it, and that's what this tune is all about. 034 Motorsports is calling this the Dynamic Plus tune, which aligns perfectly with my OEM Plus mindset. It's gonna drive just as smooth as stock, but with way more power. I want my wife to be able to get in this thing, or myself, and drive across the country if we have to, comfortably, you know, with Graham in the car seat. But having an extra 170 horsepower on tap, that's not too shabby either. Bye-bye. Should have closed the door, Mommy. We gotta tune this thing. Who's tuning this thing? It says, update is complete. It's not tuned yet. We got to start the flashing process over. But I think the safe light guy is about to be here to replace the windshield in the CTSV, which is coming up very, very soon. Next video, actually. So let's take a little break from this, let him do his thing, and we'll get back to flashing this. We want 93 octane. Hey, Maggie! Do you like auto start stop thing? You want that gone? All right, default off. All right, good to go. Let's drive this thing. First drive with the 034 Motorsports Stage 1 EA825 tune, or Dynamic Plus as we're calling it. This thing drives absolutely beautifully. It's just as described, just as I expected. It's like factory smoothness and refinement, but it's so much more responsive. Doesn't really matter what gear you're in. I'm in dynamic mode right now, and the thing, it just feels so much more responsive. Just gave it a little bit of gas there in 5th gear, and you know, didn't even have to downshift or anything. It just gets up and goes. So far, very impressed with the butt dyno. This thing feels a lot faster and still drives absolutely beautifully. So that's exactly what I wanted for my wife's daily driver that I get to, you know, mess around with once in a while. Much more aggressive on the downshifts when coming to a stoplight too, in dynamic mode. Woo! Woo! Should we do a little 2nd gear roll here? Oh my goodness. This thing rips. An SUV this big has no business being that fast. That's all I needed to feel and hear right there, but just for science purposes, let's go get some draggy data. think we spun a little bit there, believe it or not. And I was thrown back in my seat so much, I was holding on to the shifter. I think I accidentally like downshifted, and you know, the transmission didn't really know what to do for a second there. So let's give that another shot. So now just realizing I don't know if we were in sport dynamic. So let's try that again. Oh my God, that's it. Holy mackerel. 3.57, 0 to 60, and we were spinning. That ain't too shabby. And I mean, it feels insanely fast. I feel like we were spinning through second gear there. I was kind of fighting traction control a little bit. Wow. I'll have to look at the rest of the data, but I think I saw 14.4 literally on the brakes through the quarter mile. I wish I had enough room here to do a full quarter mile. We'll have to see what the 8th mile said, but man, this thing is fast. way too fast for a mom mobile, but I'm mad about it. Quick side note, take the launch numbers with a grain of salt. And some of you guys with a keen eye might notice, I don't think I did the launch control correctly. You'll notice the car kind of inches forward before I let off the brakes. It's like I didn't engage it properly, and it was really just the brakes holding the car, because that's happened to me before. And I know that when the car is properly in launch control, you can kind of almost hear it hit like a two-step. I'll put in an old clip of when I know I did it properly. You hear the turbo spool, it hits a two-step. So I don't know why it didn't work this time. Audi guys, let me know. I had it in dynamic, sport mode, traction control off, or ESC off. So I pressed the button, I didn't hold it. Mashed the brake to the floor, then mashed the gas. What could I have done wrong? I'm not sure, but regardless, car's fast as hell. And just like that, you roll the windows up, close the exhaust valves, and you're back in your luxury Audi. Completely silent in here. Nobody but you and I know that this thing has almost 700 horsepower, which is absolutely bonkers for a basically stock, you know, mom SUV that we didn't even have to get our hands dirty to tune and add 170-ish horsepower. The car drives absolutely beautifully. It's so much more responsive throughout the RPM range. I'm super happy with this tune. I'm glad that I did it. You guys all told me I should. A bunch of you reached out on Instagram. I posted on Instagram today. Everyone's like, you're gonna love it. And you know, clearly most people do. You tune these things, they're pretty detuned from the factory, but now I believe this thing has more power than, you know, a stock Lamborghini Urus. And it's a pretty conservative tune. You can get pretty wild with intakes and E85 and intercoolers, and you know, we could do some exhaust mods and stuff like that, but I really don't want to take this car much farther than that. We took it 2.5 hours each way to a wedding this past weekend. You know, it's a car we've already put, like I said, over 10,000 miles on it in less than a year. It's just a driver, so a tune is a perfect way to, you know, add some power, improve drivability, make this thing an absolute animal, but still gonna drive 100% stock reliability. And I think that was the move. So if you guys are looking to add a bunch of power to your Audi and not even have to pick up a wrench, and just want to sit there and sip your coffee while your laptop flashes a tune to the ECU and TCU, I'm gonna leave the link for the 034 Motorsports webpage in the description, specifically this tune. If you've got an SQ7, SQ8, RSQ8, RS7, or RS6, you know, you should do this. It's a ton of fun. But yeah, this thing is ready for summer. We got it cleaned up inside and out. It looks absolutely spectacular. Got the fresh set of 22-inch RS7 wheels on there, black with the milled accents. You put this thing in dynamic mode, get it down on the ground, it looks super aggressive. No doubt my wife is gonna be the coolest mom on the block in this thing, and definitely the fastest one too. So thank you guys as always for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, definitely subscribe if you haven't already. T-shirts, if I can get past my seatbelt, on the website, t-shirts, hoodies, tank tops if it's getting hot where you are. Got some hats on the way and some new t-shirt designs as well, so stay tuned for all that. Catch you guys in the next one.